The modern human is at least 200,000 years old. That is about 10,000 generations. From up here, ancient Egypt is recent. The last 1,000 years are a fleck of dust. Your entire life is so brief, it almost disappears. So here's the experiment. Every second, 2 generations pass. 50 years. You're on a train, staring out the window, watching our species become itself. You'll see hunters around campfires, footprints in wet sand, cave walls lit by fire, the first boats, the first cities, the first words trapped in clay. An hour from now, all of human history will have gone by. Put this on in the background, study to it, drift with it, or just sit still and watch 200,000 years happen. From time to time, I'll say a few words. Before we begin, something important to us. Cuts to foreign aid this year have raised serious concerns about what happens next in some of the poorest communities on Earth. It's hard to know what is really happening, and even harder to know how to help. GiveWell does not pretend to have all the answers, but its independent nonprofit researchers are tracking the effects of those funding cuts in real time, looking for the most cost-effective ways to save and improve lives, and sharing that research freely so anyone can use it. Thanks to GiveWell for helping make videos like this possible. Now, the train is leaving. The Earth is deep inside one of its many ice ages. Vast sheets of ice spread across much of the planet. Deserts widen. The climate hardens. But East Africa remains livable, mild, fertile enough, safe enough. And somewhere here, our story begins. We do not know the exact moment our species arrived. The oldest Homo sapiens bones we have are at least 200,000 years old. Maybe 300,000. Either way, by then we are already unmistakably human. All living people descend through their mothers from a woman who lived around this time. A fact written into the mitochondrial DNA inside our cells. We are already skilled hunters. We wield spears. We control fire. We shelter under animal skins. We live in bands that share food, grief, stories, danger. Without roads, maps, or shoes, we still travel enormous distances. We carry obsidian hundreds of kilometers to make cutting tools. And we are not alone. Other humans are here too. Neanderthals, Denisovans, older relatives, cousins, maybe ancestors. The world is more crowded with kinds of people than it will ever be again. We spread across Africa slowly, unevenly, with no grand plan. The Mediterranean coast, the south of the continent, river valleys, open grasslands, forest edges, and then the deserts stop us. They are too dry, too wide, too lethal. No water, little prey, no room for mistakes. Still, some groups begin slipping out of Africa by around 180,000 years ago. We know this because they meet Neanderthals and leave traces behind, in fossils and in our DNA. Maybe they crossed the impossible by using oasis after oasis, stitching together short survivable journeys across landscapes that should have killed them. That is what early human expansion looks like. Not a march, not destiny, not a clean arrow on a map. A few people trying something risky, then trying again. Around this time, lice split into 2 branches, head lice and body lice. Body lice need clothing to survive, which means quietly, indirectly, they tell us we have started wearing clothes. Even now, some places remain untouched simply because we do not yet know how to get there. Madagascar lies off the African coast, visible in the grand scheme of things, and still humans won't reach it for almost another 198,000 years. Distance matters. But knowledge matters more. Our real advantage is adaptability. When climates shift, when habitats disappear, when food changes, we change with it. Other species retreat. We improvise. Some groups move toward the coasts to escape harsher inland conditions. Suddenly, they must learn everything again. How to gather shellfish, how to use tides, how to shelter in new terrain. From this distance, progress can look laughably small. A sharpened stick hardened in fire. A shell picked up because it's beautiful. A different way to roast a snail. But this is progress. Burned snail shells from 170,000 years ago suggest we caught giant gastropods and cooked them. Shell middens from 164,000 years ago show that humans are already exploiting marine food with real skill. And already, we care about beauty. Pretty shells are collected. Pigment is used. Objects are decorated. We do not live by calories alone. Forests keep drawing us back. They offer cover, food, and the deep old comfort of trees. We may have left the branches millions of years ago, but part of us never really stopped loving them. Still, the world is dangerous. Lions larger than any alive today. Hyenas, bears, predators that do not care how clever we are. We are resourceful, but not invincible. The Paleolithic menu is whatever the land allows: seeds, tubers, roasted roots, shellfish, meat when the hunt works, fruit when you find it. Nothing keeps, nothing waits. If you come across something delicious, you eat it now. And yet, hunter-gatherer life is not endless misery. For many groups, survival work may amount to around 20 hours a week. The rest is spent socializing, making tools, resting, telling stories, maybe painting. It sounds almost leisurely. Until you remember, you never know whether tomorrow feeds you or kills you. Rivers likely become our highways. Follow water and you find animals. Follow animals and you find food. Follow food and the world opens. Still, so much is gone. Entire branches of humanity vanish without leaving much behind. New discoveries still rearrange the map, not like the 140,000-year-old Chinese skull known as Homo longi, which may force us to rethink how many kinds of humans once shared the earth. Then the climate shifts again. An unusually wet period transforms huge parts of Africa. Deserts soften into grasslands, rivers, marshes. Corridors open. More humans move. By 130,000 years ago, some have made it to Crete. Crete is an island, which means one of two things. We swam farther than seems likely, or we built boats far earlier than we used to believe. Either way, we crossed open water. By 125,000 years ago, we have clear evidence of painting with red ochre in South Africa. We almost certainly painted our bodies and surroundings long before that. Those earlier works are gone. So much of the first human world is gone. Perforated shells appear too. Beads, ornaments, jewelry. Decoration. Identity. Maybe status. Maybe affection. Maybe simply the old human urge to make meaning visible. Around 120,000 years ago, footprints left by humans and animals side by side are pressed into mud around an ancient lake in Saudi Arabia. At the time, Arabia is green and livable, full of grass and lakes. We also find abstract marks carved into bone, deliberate, repeated, meaningful to someone. We do not know what they mean. We never will. Around this same time, Homo erectus, one of our oldest and longest-lasting relatives, disappears. A lineage that endured for around 1.7 million years ends. Their history goes dark. Ours keeps moving. As sea levels fall and climates change, land bridges appear. People leave Africa in overlapping waves. Some return, some continue. Nothing is clean, nothing is coordinated. Around 100,000 years ago, when we see one of the earliest Homo sapiens burial sites. Bodies placed with care, grave goods, memory. The dead are no longer simply left behind. We begin painting not just what we see, but what we imagine. Symbolic art emerges. The inner world gets louder. Then we start reshaping the outer one. With fire in our hands, we burn forests and clear vegetation to make hunting and foraging easier. Long before farming, we are already editing ecosystems. North Africa stays green for a long time, creating a corridor out of the continent. More movement means more contact with Neanderthals. More contact means more interbreeding. Much of that ancient contact still lives inside our DNA. As humans move into Asia, they also move upward, taking shelter in caves thousands of meters above sea level. Hard times force invention. Barbed spear points help us fish more efficiently in rivers and lakes. Medicinal plants are discovered and used in ways that suggest careful observation, experimentation, memory. Then, catastrophe. The Toba supereruption in Indonesia tears into the climate and may reduce the human population to fewer than 10,000 people. That is not a rough patch. That is almost extinction. The survivors are those who find food, shelter, luck, and each other. As weather worsens, caves become even more important. They shelter us, and they give us walls. On those walls, our engravings and paintings grow more refined. We keep moving, across Asia's plains and mountains, into the dense jungles of Southeast Asia, where everything changes again. The prey is different. The plants are unfamiliar. Predators lurk above and below. The whole hunting logic must be reinvented. And still, we thrive. By 70,000 years ago in Botswana, humans are leaving spearheads as offerings to a giant python-shaped rock deep inside a cave. Ritual is here now. So is exchange between species. Interbreeding with Neanderthals in Europe happens often enough that today, most non-African humans carry about 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. In Asia, meetings with Denisovans leave another distinct genetic trace. We are not replacing other humans from a clean distance. We are meeting them, fighting them maybe, loving them certainly, becoming mixed with them. We also become connoisseurs of stone. Different rocks are selected for different tools. Better materials are carried farther. Easier options are ignored if finer ones are available. By around 61,000 years ago, bows and arrows appear. Hunting changes again. Soon rafts or simple boats carry us across island chains in Southeast Asia. We make it into Indonesia, New Guinea, and onto the Australian continent. Each new land is an alien world. At the same time, other groups push into colder and harsher places. Western Europe, Northern Asia, Siberia. Everywhere humans arrive, large animals begin having a terrible time. Across multiple continents, megafauna decline or vanish. Giant mammals become rarer, smaller, or extinct. The exact story varies from place to place, but our arrival keeps showing up in the same chapter as their disappearance. By more than 50,000 years ago, people in New Guinea are already clearing forests with stone axes to make gathering easier. Around this same period, something changes inside us too. Archaeologists sometimes call it a cultural revolution. We have long been anatomically modern, human in body. Now we become unmistakably modern in behavior as well. Technology diversifies rapidly. Symbolic art expands. Regional cultures sharpen. We are not just surviving in new places. We are inventing ways to live there beautifully. By 45,000 years ago, humans in Sri Lanka are expert hunters of monkeys and squirrels, making tools from their bones. We keep using caves. We use caves everywhere. They are the original architecture. Cover the entrance, light a fire, and a family has a home. Then, around 40,000 years ago, someone in what is now Germany carves the Lion Man, a human body with a lion's head. It is the oldest known statue. Not useful, not necessary. Which is exactly why it matters. Around the same time, the oldest known musical instrument appears, the Hohle Fels flute, made from a vulture wing bone. 5 finger holes, 40,000 years old. At some point, in a cave, at night, music entered the human world. Human figurines appear too, including the famous Venus figures carved from ivory and clay. As we expand, Neanderthals fade. By around 35,000 years ago, they are gone from the fossil record. Not in one dramatic moment. Just gone. Somewhere around 33,000 years ago, we also get what may be the earliest known murder victim. A skull crushed by a blow to the head. Human tenderness runs deep. So does human violence. Dogs begin joining us too. Early domestic dogs are still almost wolves, but something changes. Behavior, diet, tolerance. A long alliance begins. In Europe, people develop finer stone blades, better sculpture, or better clothes. Outfits become layered and fitted. Shoes improve. Textile work advances too. Flax fibers twisted together 30,000 years ago hint at weaving and fabric making. Disaster keeps coming. The Orowanui super eruption in New Zealand darkens the southern hemisphere around 25,700 years ago. We survive. Cave bears disappear around 24,000 years ago. We survive that too. Long before formal farming, people in the Middle East begin something like proto-farming. They gather the plants they favor, like barley, and help them grow where they want them. Then, around 20,000 years ago, the world reaches the last glacial maximum. Sea levels are lower by around 120 meters. Ice covers a quarter of Earth's land. And because of that, Bering Strait becomes Beringia, a land bridge. Humans cross into the Americas. Then they move astonishingly fast, and reaching the southern tip in only a few thousand years. They travel along safer coastlines first, then through gigantic jungles, immense mountain chains, terrible deserts, windswept plateaus. They meet short-faced bears, saber-toothed cats, landscapes that should stop them. They keep going. By around 20,000 years ago, humans in China are making pottery, controlled clay firing, one of the earliest examples we have. By 17,000 years ago, we find the earliest human remains with blonde hair. Not every tradition we inherit from this world is one we would want. There is direct evidence that some Homo sapiens practiced cannibalism at least 15,800 years ago, likely in a funerary context rather than as ordinary food. And then, around 12,000 years ago, everything accelerates. At Göbekli Tepe, in what is now Turkey, people build monumental stone structures that require coordination on a scale that points toward a different kind of future. Instead of wandering in small bands, humans begin settling in larger groups. They share belief, labor, resources, memory. Soon come the first permanent buildings and temples. Then animals are domesticated. Then crops are planted and harvested on purpose, year after year. Many humans abandon the hunter-gatherer life that carried our species for almost all of its existence and begin working fields instead. They cluster around fertile land. Dogs come with us. Cats follow the grain and the mice and eventually move in too. More food means more people. More people means specialization. Some farm, some build, some shape clay, some count, some govern, some fight. Villages become towns. Towns become cities. Cities become states. We are still sitting at the tip of a vast history. Still carrying the same hopes, the same fears, the same hunger to leave something behind. The difference is scale.